Hey friends, so now I'm gonna give you the full big picture about what is Power BI using sketches. So we're gonna cover the what, the why, the history, the components, everything. So grab your coffee.
You need to do something about your coffee breath.
You need to do something about
Shut up.
And we're gonna start with a true story about companies. So let's go. In any industry or business, everyone at the top had the same mission. Managers, stakeholders, project leads all need to make smart decisions and they need to make them fast. And they ask questions like which region is falling behind, why profits are dropping in the last month, and where they should put their money next. And those are real critical business questions and they need answers. So now if they try without a good data, they are going to guess. So they're gonna use opinions and some gut feelings in order to answer them. Deming said it best. Without data, you are just another person with an opinion. That's why most of the companies, they gonna try to answer the data using the company's data. And for that, the business gonna hire a data analyst in order to find the answers from the data. But to do that, they need a tool, and if the company doesn't have the right one, they usually go and use spreadsheets like the Excel files. So the analyst gonna try to go and collect the data from the sources and put it in the Excel files. They're gonna clean up the data, fix mistakes, and prepare the data so that at the end they're gonna present the answers using numbers and charts to the managers, and after that the manager gonna use them in order to make critical business decisions. So now this sounds like happy ending, right? Everyone is happy and we got the answers. But in real world, this doesn't work like this. If you are using spreadsheet or Excel to do data analysis, things gonna start to fall apart. Let me show you what I mean. Now the entire process is manual, so you are connecting the sources, exporting files, merging sheets, cleaning rows. People think it is easy, but in reality this is painful and it takes a lot of time. Sometimes it takes weeks, and I have seen cases where it takes months. And if it takes a lot of time to present the data, that means the data inside the reports are actually old, which means the managers are making decisions based on old data, and the business might have been changed in the last week and no one knows about it because we have old data inside the Excel files. So that means managers makes decisions based on outdated data, and this might result to bad decisions, which gonna cost the company a lot. So the new generated data inside the systems will not be automatically updating the charts or whatever results that you have in Excel. It's gonna be like snapshot static. Another issue is that the company's systems are not always like a simple database or files. Now the systems lives in cloud, they provide data in APIs, or even they stream their data in platforms like Kafka. And pulling the data from those modern systems into Excel by hand is almost impossible. So you're gonna struggle with the modern technology. Another big issue as well, the sources now are generating massive amount of data. So if you try to export everything to Excel and put it in file, at some point your Excel file is gonna explode and maybe freeze or crashes. They simply can't handle real big data. And another one can be funny to watch if the company decide to speed up the process by adding more people to the project. So you're gonna have more than one analyst that they're gonna try to prepare this Excel file, and guess what? They cannot work inside the same file at the same time. And the solution for that, each one gonna go and create their own copy. So that means you're gonna have multiple versions of the same file, and good luck merging all those stuff back to one file. And another big issue using Excel files is the security. So the analysts or the managers might send the Excel files through emails, and those files could be storing sensitive data about the company, and it is really easy to hack the Excel files to get access to them, and could be easily end up in the wrong hands. So your company's data are totally unprotected if you put it in spreadsheets. And another thing about the security, not all the data inside the Excel should be available for everyone in the company. Sometimes part of the data is really sensitive and only upper management in the company are allowed to see it, not everyone in the company. So in Excel you cannot go and apply something called row level security to control which department or which people are allowed to see the data. So you're gonna end up creating multiple versions for multiple departments. And now since we are talking about departments, we come to the biggest issue, the biggest catastrophic. Different departments like sales, finance, marketing have their own analysts. So one analyst is exporting the data, cleaning up, and then they build their own formulas. And guess what can happen if you leave it like this? First, people are spending their mornings doing the same task, And now if the managers ask the same question to 3 different analysts, they're gonna get 3 different answers. It's not because they are wrong, it is because of this whole system. One file is 2 weeks old, another one is 1 week old, and another just got updated yesterday. And as well, the calculation in each file could be slightly different. So that means, my friends, it is big confusion and there is no more single point of truth for the data. And my friends, to be honest, I have seen this almost in every company that I have joined. It is total disaster and pure chaos. And that's why many of the companies, they understood they cannot rely on spreadsheets to do data analysis. Instead, they need a standard, they need a process, platform to do the whole thing in one place. And we call this process, this system, as a business intelligence, or as a shortcut, BI. So what is that? A business intelligence is the whole process of working with data. So collecting the data from the sources, cleaning up the data, preparing and organizing it, and then turn it into visuals so people can understand what is going on and make better decisions. So the BI, the business intelligence, is the full workflow from start to finish. A lot of people think business intelligence is just like making charts and dashboards. Well, it is way more than that. And of course, we need tools, platforms to do now the business intelligence, right? And for that, we have 2 very famous platforms. We have the Tableau and the Microsoft Power BI. And that's why you have it in the name, Power BI, BI Business Intelligence. That's why we call Power BI as a BI tool. Same thing goes, of course, for Tableau. Now, quickly, what is the history of Power BI? Because Power BI didn't start as a giant platform, everything began inside the Excel. So Microsoft has tools like Power Query and Power Pivot hidden inside Excel. Those tools were very powerful, but the thing is, Excel itself was not able to handle the big modern data, as I showed you all the issues and problems of the Excel. And at the same time, other platforms like Tableau start to becoming very popular because it offered a clear way and easy way to do data visualizations. So that's why Microsoft understood they need something completely new. They cannot keep adding stuff to Excel. They start taking the strong parts of Excel and turn them into new products focused on data analysis. And that idea became Power BI in 2015. And since that point until now, Microsoft keep pushing and keep improving the Power BI month after month. Better visuals, more connectors, improving the performance, deep integration of Power BI with the Microsoft ecosystem, and in the last 4 years they introduced the Microsoft Fabric and copilots in Power BI. So over the time, Power BI grew into a full business intelligence platform or a data analytics platform. It became one of the Tableau's main competitors. Both of them are now the top tools in the world for BI. If you have a look at Google Trends, you can exactly see the clear shift. Tableau was dominating for a long time, but Power BI kept growing and growing until we reached the point where Power BI gets searched almost as much as Tableau worldwide. So it is interesting where Power BI and Tableau gonna go over the time. And for Power BI, we have another name. We call it as Data Visualization Tool. So what is that? But first, let's have some coffee, right? Alright, so it is the process of turning raw data and boring numbers into visuals and charts like bar, line, pie charts and heat maps, just to make it easier for human to understand the complex raw data instantly. Because, my friends, we are visual creatures. If you see a picture of a tree, you're gonna understand it right away. But if you read the word tree, your brain has first to process it and turn it into visual. So that means visuals skips these extra steps, which makes it easier for your brain. So that means visuals are processed way faster than reading a text or looking to numbers. And not only that, our brain remembers them longer. So we keep small part of what we hear, a bit more of what we read, but most of what we see. So this is the power of visuals, and data visualizations are very powerful because you understand the information faster, you see the patterns and problems instantly, you can use them to explain your ideas, you can tell a story, and with that the others can make better decisions, and everyone gonna remember the visuals way longer than numbers. And exactly for that, tools like Power BI focuses on data visualizations. So now the question is, what is inside Power BI and how it actually works? It is divided into 5 components, and each one of them has its own clear job. The first one is Power Query. This is where you clean up your data. You remove mistakes, duplicates, you fix the formats. So it's all about preparing the data. The second component is the data module. Once everything is cleared, it's time to structure and organize your data. So it's all about how you go and connect your tables to each other's, and this is very important to make everything accurate, organized, and as well fast. Now moving on to the next one, we have the DAX. Everyone is afraid of this one. So DAX is all about using calculations and math in order to build the business logic that you're gonna need for the next step. So everything so far is like hidden. It's the background of the Power BI, no one sees it, and now it's the first time you're gonna build something that the end user is gonna see, the visuals. So here you're gonna build all those charts and big numbers, tables, and those filters, and the dynamic of everything, just in order at the end to tell a story using the data. Now once everything is ready, you go to the last component in order to share and publish what you have built. So at the end, people gonna view your report, interact with it, and make decisions. So those are the 5 components and blocks inside Power BI that you have to use in order to build something in Power BI. So it looks like a process, a simple pipeline. You bring the data in, you clean it, you module it and organize it, then visualize it, and at the end you share it. And you can do the whole thing in just one platform, the Power BI. So now let's talk about the Power BI ecosystem, because Power BI itself, it is not just one thing, it is multiple things. So Microsoft offers multiple tools, and each one of them has its own job. The first one is the Power BI Desktop. This is the app that you install locally on your PC, and I have bad news, just to make it clear, you cannot install it on Mac because it is Windows only, unless you are using some extra workarounds. So the Power BI Desktop is where you spend most of your time building things. It is basically the engine of Power BI. Everything that you have talked about inside this tool, the Power Query, the data module, the DAX, the visuals, the whole thing, the whole process is inside this one tool, and everything, the data, the modules, the reports gonna be stored into one single file locally at your PC, and the extension of this file gonna be PBIX. And of course you can go and share this file directly with the others, but we don't want to have another Excel's issue, right? We don't do that. Instead of that, we're going to publish everything that we have built to a new tool, to the next part of the ecosystem, the Power BI service. And at this point, once you publish your report from desktop to the service, your report now gonna live there. Now what gonna happen? Your end users, your consumers gonna open their browser and start viewing your reports and dashboards and interact with them. So they can start filtering things, checking the number and whatever they need. And of course, if you have some top managers that don't have the time to open their laptops, no problem. This is totally fine because they can go and install the third tool, the Power BI app, on their phone or tablet in order to connect to the same reports that lives in the cloud, in the service. So using their devices, they still can interact with your report. Of course, there are a lot of more extra stuff, but those are the 3 major, let's say, tools that Microsoft offers. A desktop where you build things, the Power BI service where you're gonna host and share your reports, and this nice Power BI app to interact with your stuff using phone and tablets. Now, you might ask, is Power BI only made for data analysts? Because we have understood it is their main tool. They use it in order to answer business questions using data and visuals. So if I am not data analyst, if I do something else, should I learn Power BI? Well, my friend, of course. Like for example, example, me as a data engineer who go and build data pipelines, I still go and use Power BI in order to make dashboards to monitor my system, to check the data quality and make sure that everything is loaded correctly the way it should. So I use Power BI to monitor internally the whole system that I'm building as a data engineer. Now as well, you can use it as a data scientist. So you go and build models, predictions and machine learning solutions, but still as a data scientist, you have to go and share your work with non-tech and business users, and you cannot share with them your code or notebooks. You're gonna go and use Power BI to share your work because it is simple and easy for business users. So it is the best way to explain the complex things that you do as a data scientist. And of course, if you are a business analyst, you're gonna end up as well using Power BI. So you're gonna use it to answer what happened, why it happened, and what should happen next. So you use insights for conversations and discussions. And by the way, not only at work, I know a lot of people that use Power BI for personal life at home. They use it in order to track their spending, for budgeting, for investments. Anytime you have numbers and you would like to make visuals, you can use Power BI. So for example, I use it for YouTube stuff to analyze and track things. It just works for everyone. And now, my friends, there is like an endless war about which BI tool is better, Power BI or Tableau. I saw this topic discussed everywhere at YouTube, social media, and at companies. There are endless content and meeting and efforts about it. And now, if you ask me which one should I use or which one is better, I'm gonna tell you both are good. And there is one of the projects that I have done that I utilized both of them, Power BI and Tableau, at the same time. So now I'm gonna tell you a few reasons why some teams tend to use Power BI instead of Tableau. The first and obvious reason is it fits your daily tools. Most of people at work already use Microsoft products like Outlook, Teams, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, and Power BI feel natural because it fits. It looks like Excel, it looks like PowerPoint, and it is already connected to all those tools without any extra steps. The second reason, it is very easy to switch from Excel to Power BI. Because you already know DAX, the interface looks like an Excel, and the charts and dashboards look similar. You have already the background to switch to Power BI. Reason number 3, it is more affordable. Power BI costs less than other tools. And now, my friend, of course, all the companies are trying to cut costs. And one of the major costs in each budget is actually licenses. This is a winning factor why they utilize Power BI. And another reason, inside Power BI you have a lot of things like the data cleanup and preparation using the Power Query. Many other platforms like Tableau, they offer like a second tool like Tableau Prep in order to prepare the data. But with the Power BI desktop you have like everything in one place, which makes it easier for you not to jump between like tools to do the whole process. And another reason why people tend to use Power BI is that Microsoft really focuses on this tool. Like there is a new release and new updates every single month. New visuals, new features, new connectors. The tool is really keep growing very fast. And another reason, which is my favorite one, the data modeling inside Power BI is really strong. So there are a lot of features and advanced stuff that you can do as you are modeling the data. If you compare to Tableau, Tableau is really limited on how you build the data model, which is a clear win for Power BI because if you have a strong data model, you can make very flexible and fast insight with the Power BI. So those are the reasons why we use Power BI instead of other tools like Tableau. But the major reasons are, again, it is cheaper than other tools, it is integrated everywhere in the Microsoft ecosystem at work, and the third one, come on, it looks like a powerful Excel. Everyone is familiar and use Excel. So the interface of the Power BI looks really familiar. So those are my reasons why I think Power BI is becoming very popular and widely used. Okay, so my friends, Power BI is great but actually not perfect, and there are some scenarios where I'm gonna say Power BI is limited compared to the other tools like Tableau. Like the biggest limitation with the Power BI is you cannot use it for very complex visuals. Now, if you are building operational reports where you have some basic charts, a bar, line, or pie charts, some table and filter, then Power BI is more than enough. But the thing is, if things get a little bit advanced and complex, like if you are a data scientist that is making dot plots or some advanced insights about the data, it is way easier to use Tableau and as well faster. It still stronger and wins here compared to Power BI. And another thing where I cannot use Power BI is that there are limitations. So if you are using scatter charts in Power BI, you are limited only to show few thousands of data points, which is really a disaster if you have a lot of data. You would like even to show hundreds of thousands of data points in order to find those outliers. And Tableau does not enforce any hard limitations or restrictions on the number of data points on the visual. Literally, I had one visual that is showing millions of data points on my dashboard in Tableau. And another reason which is really annoying, you cannot run Power BI desktop for Mac users. You need always to use workaround where tools like Tableau, you can install it in both Windows and Mac. So those are the major reasons, let's say, to not use Power BI. And this is exactly why I have utilized in one project both of the tools, Power BI and Tableau. So for basic operational reports and standard reports that goes to managers and leaders, I have utilized Power BI, which is more than enough. And I can tell you 80% of requirements and reports fits into those two categories. And only for complex and advanced analytics that is usually prepared by advanced data analysts and data scientists, we use Tableau because it is faster for big data, and as well you can create highly customized charts. And of course, not everyone in the company did use it, so we give it an access only for like a focused audience that has advanced analytical requirements. So this is my take on why we use Power BI and when not to use it. Alright friends, so that was a whole full introduction about what is Power BI, and next we're gonna deep dive into the tool of Power BI Desktop. If you like my content where I sketch those complex concepts and show you things behind the scenes, then support the channel by subscribing, liking and commenting. This really helps the channel to reach nice people like you. And if you don't know already, I have full detailed courses about SQL and Tableau. Check the link in the description. And you can check my weekly newsletter if you want to learn more about data. That's all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.